Hello, my name is Mimi. Welcome to my channel. This is Mimi's Global Journey. So in this channel, I talk about my own experience as a solo female traveler, the steps that I've taken, how I did it, and what was my researching and all of the things that I needed to know before I took the leap of faith. And just so you know, it took me about 3 to 4 months before I decided to solo travel, take that risk, and live life to the fullest. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about the 7 safety things you need to know before you travel on your own as a woman in any country around the globe, because you just never know. So I figured this video will help people who are looking to travel by themselves, who are just nervous, who just don't know where to look, they don't know where to start. So in this video, I just want to cover the basics. Like, there's so many other things out there, but I think these are my personal opinion and things that I think it's important for you to know before you take that leap of faith. So the first safety tip that I'm gonna suggest you do is, first and foremost, always research your destination. So it's important for you to understand, okay, if you make a plan to visit Mexico, the UK, France, it's always nice to just do a brief Google search, watch some videos of other women on YouTube talking about their experiences, go on TikTok about, activities, safety, and things that you can do and not do, and maybe some local laws as a tourist. I think that's important for you to know, because I would say that my solo trip to France was amazing. I loved it. It's an extremely diverse city. I went to the city of Paris and I stayed there for most of my time when I visited. But when I was there, I did encounter some things when I was on their metro. Apparently, I did have their France metro card. It's like a blue card that you tap in order to get into the station and get on the metro. So unfortunately, I didn't have my picture on the card. And there's a cart that police officers, or maybe transit police, they go on to see if people have their picture or if they pay their fare. I didn't have my picture. My French was really bad at the time, so they ended up giving me a fine because I was a tourist. I did not speak French. And, it is what it is. I mean, I wish I knew that before, but, things like that happen. But I also think it's important for you to always do your research as much as possible, because it will save you a lot of money, a lot of time, and it'll keep you safe. So always do your research. And like I said before, if you know anyone who's been to the country that you're looking to visit on your own, you gotta ask them, what are things to do? Maybe I can join a walking tour to feel more comfortable and meet other solo travelers. You can also look at visiting a museum, maybe, paying for any other activities, anything you want to do. Always ask someone, like, in your personal life, or if not, you have YouTube, TikTok, even on Twitter. Some people talk about their journeys on Twitter, everywhere. I mean, you have the internet, it's there, so I would definitely utilize it. So number 2, the second safety tip that I have is definitely to stay connected with your friends and family at home. So I noticed that some people, when they tend to go away or just to, try out something different, they don't really keep in touch or stay close with family. I mean, I did, but when it comes to sharing my location, I didn't do that, but they all knew where I was at the time. So I think that's very important, because it's easy to, have so much fun. You see new things, you want to, like, especially when you get to Europe. Let's say you're in France and you notice you can take a train from Paris to London, and you can. And on top of that, you don't really share about your whereabouts with your your loved ones, and that can also, you just don't know what can happen. So I would just say, as a woman, it's important for you to always stay connected with your loved ones, use apps to share your location with friends and family, and keep an emergency contact handy. I think that's really, really important for your safety as a woman when you're alone. So that was my second. So now we're going to talk about number 3. This might not be the obvious, but I would say try to blend in as much as possible, because that's something that I've learned in my entire travel journey. So When I visited Europe, that was like the first region that I visited alone as a solo female traveler. I always tried to dress like the locals, or maybe not look like I'm lost or looking for my way around. Don't ever look like a tourist if you don't have to, if you can, you know? So always try to, like, okay, if you know you're going somewhere, you know, look at your phone briefly. Don't try to use Google to direct you to certain areas, because I just think that makes you vulnerable to, you know, whoever's out there looking to mess with people. But I would just say always try your best to blend in, because you don't want unnecessary attention. You know, you just always want to make sure that no one has an idea that you're by yourself, you don't know where you're going, and they don't have a chance to play with you or mess with you in that sense. So that would be my top tip for you. Blend in, avoid drawing attention to yourself, and just be confident. Your confidence will build once you start blending in and just feeling like, you know the city and you know where you're going. So the fourth safety tip that I would like to add is securing your belongings. Now, when I was on my girls' trip in Italy, we were warned a lot about keeping our bags in front of us, closed, and making sure that, it's not out of our sight, because pickpocketing was very common out there. And once your things are gone, it's gone forever, and it's not worth the stress, the heartache, the headache. You don't want to deal with that, especially when you're on your own. Of course, there's going to be mistakes and little hiccups here and there, but always try to secure your bags and anything that's important to you. If you're staying at a hotel or hostel, any of those certain areas, always leave your valuables like in a safe. Or if you travel with a carry-on bag, personal bag, make sure that because my carry-on luggage, it has like a combination lock. So I always put my valuables in there and I lock it up. If you have your personal bag that you keep in the hotel, lock it up somewhere with your personal lock or something that can keep all of your valuables secured. You just don't want to go through any form of, anger because, God forbid, someone pickpocketed you or you weren't paying attention, and, they can grab your phone, God forbid your passport. I mean, I'll talk about traveling with your passport outside the hotel room in a different video, but I think that's just important for you to be mindful to always keep your bag, your purse, backpack in front of you. You just really never know, and it's not worth it. So always just keep that in mind. So number 5, this is my favorite because I think I'm pretty good with this. Always trust your instincts. You gotta not question your instinct at all. Because think about it. If you have a bad feeling about something, that's because your soul sees something that your eye can't see. So you want to make sure that, okay, if you walk into a restaurant or an area, a neighborhood, whatever, and you have a bad feeling, turn around and walk away. Think about it. This is your life, your safety on the line in a foreign country. You never know. Just walk away. If something feels off, do not ignore it. Trust me, if I've ignored my intuition. We all done mistakes, but you want to be smart and remove yourself from those situations before it gets worse. So I would definitely not risk my life for anything, especially if you're alone. Just think about it in those terms and just walk away and just, go someplace else and just act like you're talking to someone on the phone, if that helps. I would say always trust your instincts. And the 6th safety tip that I would like to cover would be using a safe form of transportation. So you always want to stick to a licensed cab or rideshare app. And if the country that you're in has a good transportation system, you can use that. I've used the buses, the metros, the trams, and they work amazingly. They're very efficient, very fast. So I would suggest, you push and you kind of, use that more often. But if you're using like an Uber or Lyft, if that's available in some countries, I think you'll be like secured and you'll be okay. And on top of that, remember, if you can, share your location with family. Make sure they know where you are. and anyone close to you, friends and family, you have your location on with them. So that will help you in the long run. So always make sure you're using the proper form of transportation. And let's say if you're not familiar on how to use the transportation machine, on how to purchase a card, or I guess just buy a single ride ticket, always ask someone with a uniform on in the station. Or some countries, they have even, I guess, like police officers, or like it would say like police in their language. It depends, because I'm just thinking about Turkey. When I was in Turkey, it said police, so they were the main ones at the station. Always ask them questions. For me, I'm not too comfortable asking like the people. That's just me. It really depends on where I am, but you always ask the person in a uniform who's working there. That's their job, and they'll help you because they know the ins and outs of where you need to go and how to basically buy your next fare to your next destination. And the last thing I would cover would be to basically always try to be mindful and protect yourself. So when you're visiting a foreign land, you got to think about it in this sense. Okay, I'm not in my norm. I'm out. I'm not at home, in the US or wherever you came from, Canada or wherever. And you just want to be mindful of the other country's culture. You want to be mindful, like, okay, not everyone speaks English. Not everyone speaks French, Spanish, Portuguese, Turkish, Arabic, whatever the language is. You always want to think about it in this sense. You don't have to take my advice, but it kind of helped me in my journey for the last 2 years. So whenever I visit a country, I always remind myself that I'm a guest here, and I don't have basically the right to tell people to speak English to me or treat people the way I basically get treated back at home. I'm not sure if that makes sense. So normally think about it in this way. So if it's like in the US, customer service is huge. You people say hello to you, say goodbye. They're very kind, but you don't really get that in many countries. That's like a US thing. People say hi to you, they help you. That really doesn't apply to every country, especially certain countries that you want to visit. So I would just say to be mindful of that and enjoy your time, and just, study and just watch how people are wherever you are. Supermarket, cafe. I spent a lot of time in cafes. I would always watch and see, learn the vernacular a bit, just to blend in. I think blending in would save you, people won't question, oh, where you're from, Blending in, it makes it more fun. And so, some places, it really doesn't matter. You can even share that you're not from there, whatever you're most comfortable with. As long as you're reading the vibe, you're not worried about anything, you'll be okay. So I hope this video helps. I mean, there's a lot of other tips that I'll cover, but these are like basically the most important details that I wanted to share about safety tips for solo female travel. So there's positives, a lot of positives, and there's some negatives. So I just hope this video helps. If you have anything you want to add, please feel free to just comment below or ask me any questions. The ball is in your court. And stay tuned for more videos about my personal journey and more tips and advice that I will share with you about what I've learned and how I was able to change as a solo female traveler. Thank you for watching.